Okay, we're recording.
Alrighty.
All right. Do that, do that, do that. Okay, in five, four. Welcome to episode 44 of the Scale Model Podcast, sponsored by Goodman Models. My name is Stuart Clark, and I'm practicing social distancing in my fortress of solitude with my good co-host who's practicing social distancing in his fortress of solitude, Anthony Goodman. How are you, sir?
I'm great, Stu. How are you today?
Not too bad. Now, I'll tell you, if you have two fortresses of solitude, does that still apply? Would that still be in
Uh,
solitude?
it's
Things
double the solitude.
solitude? Maybe. Things that make you go, hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, so you're surviving social distancing, your family's well and all
Yes.
that?
Yep. Thankfully, we're good. I'm not gonna complain because nobody's ill. So yeah, we're pretty good. I'm getting
That's
lots of
good.
bench time.
Well, that's good. And the
Yeah,
kids aren't
trying to.
the kid family's not driving you too nuts. You haven't
No,
locked
not at
yourself in
all.
yet?
No,
Good,
doesn't
good.
bother me at all.
Good stuff. Nope,
Uh,
same here. We're doing well. I'm also doing shopping for my mom. So when I'm
yeah.
out and about, I'm doing double the grocery shopping and yeah, spending lots of time in line. Reminds me of when my grandparents used to talk about, queuing up in line at the grocery store during the war,
Oh
sort of
wow.
thing.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, kind of a similar thing. Anyway, so yes, we hope everyone's staying safe. So, latest
Definitely.
news. Let's start off with some good stuff here.
Yeah.
We have our latest giveaway. We have Sean's Customs Models Tools. We have a prize pack number 2 giveaway. And
Mm-hmm.
this one's going to be not just for Patreon supporters, but anyone who listens to us.
Yeah.
So, what do we have? What are we giving them? What are we giving away?
It's actually a pretty slick prize pack as
Yeah,
well. We have an official Super Standing Blocks Super Stand from Goodman Models from me,
I've heard of
and
those.
yeah, once or twice,
Yeah, maybe.
and one of Sean's really cool model tape dispensers that fits all your uh, Tamiya tapes in it.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I gotta say, I
It's
have one. It's
very
awesome.
cool. I was hoping to
Yeah.
pick one up. I'm gonna have to order one from. I was hoping to pick one up from Heritage Con because I found it
Yes.
really cool. It worked very well when I was taking some of the promotional pictures for them.
Yes.
It was very cool, I have to
Yeah. It's
admit.
great.
So all you have to do this time, real simple. All you got to do is go to the show notes at scalemodelpodcast.com. You will see a link under latest news. All we want you to do is we want you to send us an email with a picture of your workbench area, your modeling cave. It doesn't have to be clean, however it is.
The
You want to
dirtier the
show,
better.
yep, if well, it doesn't really matter. If it's perfectly clean, that's cool too. If it's got a picture of your latest work, that's fine. Whether it's a kitchen table, a full-on thing with paint racks and everything like that, like Anthony has, or somewhere half in between like I have. Send them in. We will randomly draw a winner on April 26th, just before we do the next podcast. I'll throw the numbers into random.org and we
Mhm.
will draw a winner and we will send that to you,
Yeah,
courtesy of the little elves at Goodman Heavy Industries.
that's right.
Exactly. And we'll probably talk about
Awesome.
the elves a little bit later.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is our first bit of good news. Our
Yes.
second bit, we have a special announcement from our friends at IPMS Hamilton,
Yep.
and this concerns the Musaru Cup. This came, I believe, yesterday or the day before. Very, very breaking news, and this concerns for both us at the Scale Model Podcast and our good friends at On the Bench in Australia. So we, as most regular listeners know, we had a Musaru Cup competition last year where Anthony built
Uh-huh.
himself a very nice looking car. He swore at it a lot, but it came out really, really well.
Yeah,
And
it
Ian,
sure did.
Ian, Ian ended up, even though he thought Gundams were toys, ended up building a very nice Gundam and
Yes.
squeaked through by the smallest of margins,
That's what
to
they
win
say.
Musa Cup number 1. Yeah, Ian and Alan from IPMS Hamilton and Heritage Con had a hell of a time. So I'm just going to read verbatim what was said here, and we're going to have a copy of this up on the show notes. Hello, podcasters. This is for both the Scale Model Podcast and On the Bench. Here at IPMS Hamilton, we are happy to sponsor the Musaru 2 competition that brings together the modeling world through your respective podcasts in a good-natured modeling challenge. Now, this is the part I kind of smirk at. The challenge is to pit internationally renowned broadcasters of exceptional modeling skill, talent, charm, and charisma against each other. Well, 2 out of 4 ain't bad. In order to
Uh-huh.
determine who is worthy of the Mooseroot Cup. For this year's challenge, the subjects and the competitors have already been chosen, and we decided that when we had Dave up here for our special show at the Warplane Museum. The organizers, as well as a co-conspirator, and this is at Lightspeed Distributing, have acquired the kits that will be needed for the competition. The original well laid out plans to introduce this year's challenge at HeritageCon 14 was sidetracked by the ongoing major inconvenience to the societal norm. This has
Yeah.
forced us to determine an alternate way to announce the latest Mooseroot challenge. They, people with considerably more techno savvy than me, told them that this interweb email thingy is a good way to move information around the world quickly. So let's give it a
Sure
try.
thing. Yeah.
Okay, so representing the Scale Model podcast, I'm the one representing that. My
Hmm.
kit is the Mini Art, the 2019 release, 1/35th scale Avro Severa C30A in civilian service. This is a gyrocopter, and I know we have featured it before. And again, we're gonna have a picture and a link to it. This looks like a really nice looking kit. Representing on the bench, I've got some really tough competition. Julian of, president of Julian's Jewels.
Hmm.
His kit is a mini art, also a 2019 release, the 1/35th scale FL-282 V16 Cobri. I believe that was a Russian. It looks military. The
Yeah,
rules
it does look Russian or
yeah, it
Soviet,
looks it looks very
perhaps.
cool as well. The rules this year are simple. Build the kits any way you wish. You can add any aftermarket modifications or details that you wish. You can modify the kit any way you wish as long as the original kit subject is identifiable. So I guess I can't make like a giant spaceship and say it's inside, right? Probably not.
Well, recognizable.
Correct.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
I
Maybe you
don't
should
know.
put
Yeah. Yeah. There's
anti-gravity
like
rockets on it or something.
Yeah, maybe. All right. In other words, anything goes. The only restriction that it has to be built by the designated modeler. No subcontracting or backroom help. Well, so much for asking the cat
We
to help
did
me.
we did discuss um before we fully read the rules. We we
Yeah, yeah,
did
yeah,
discuss
yeah, yeah.
cheating.
You mentioned that. I was guilty. He's bad.
That was not a genuine offer of
No,
help, though.
I know it
You're
wasn't.
on your own here.
Yeah, that's fine. I, you know what? It looks like it's a better kit than that bloody car I picked for you.
Hopefully.
I'm
Well,
still
it's
apologizing
these
for
are
that.
these are nice new releases, so
Yeah,
they'll slam together like a Tamiya kit.
let's hope so. Yeah, I was looking at the instructions, got some photo etch, got a little bit of this, a little bit of that. So, with this continuing COVID confusion, the final deadline is set for the return of HeritageCon in 2021. And the kits are going to be in the mail shortly. So, I believe they're going to send the Australian one to David, and then David will pass it on to Julian. So good luck to our competitors. Keep up the great work with both your podcasts. They are becoming an essential modeling service for those who are isolated or not. Your podcasts have become virtual model clubs of the world. Ian Fraser, and Alan Muro from IPMS Hamilton. So thank you,
Wonderful
gentlemen. We
voice.
really appreciate the support. And we're looking forward to getting those. That should be fun. I'm gonna
Yeah.
have a lot of fun
Saying
videotaping.
now.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I know what scheme I'm going to use too. I've already looked at the instructions.
Yeah,
There's actually a London Police Service, British Police
that's
one.
pretty cool. That'll be
Yeah, it's in
fun.
like the blue, and yeah, it looks good. They have an Australian one too, and
Mhm.
a couple other ones. But I think that British one, I think that's going to be fun. To be
Yeah.
honest, I've maybe built one helicopter in my life, and that was the old Airfix. What was it? It was the Huey Cobra in 1/72nd scale
Oh
from
yeah.
way back. Yeah, yeah.
Because
I
I
think
think
I've
the
only
only one
built.
I've done is the was maybe the old Airfix Chinook.
Yep,
The
yep,
not the Chinook, the one that had the the box, like you could load the boxes on the back. It's not a Chinook.
yep.
It's a
Oh,
it looks really weird. It's like a dangling cockpit with an engine, and then it could
oh,
attach
yes,
the
the Sky Crane.
yes, that's it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yep, yeah, I know what you're talking about. So yeah, so that's going to be fun. At least it's 1/35th scale, so it's
To be
slightly
able to
bigger than
see
one.
it. Yeah,
Yeah, it looks
that's
it looks
awesome.
good. So as I said, I'm
I'm
gonna.
going to do some. I'll volunteer right now. I'm going to do some check-ins with yourself and Julian
Yeah, I think that's a
as
good
little
idea.
progress reports,
Yeah,
and we'll
that would be
see
a
how
good
you
idea.
guys are
Well,
making
I'm
out.
definitely planning to build it sooner than later when it comes in
Yeah.
because I want to have a lot of time. And yeah,
Mhm.
this looks like really, really good. So it's going to be very fun. So we're looking forward to that. Okay, on to some not so happy news. And again, this is just hot news from this weekend.
Mhm.
If you follow our colleagues at On the Bench, they've talked about it as well. There was a post to a World War One aircraft models forum, and it ended up on the Wingnut Wings Facebook forum about some news coming out of there. And basically, the company Wingnut Wings looks like it's in trouble. Um, so basically, let me just find the actual quote here, because of course now that I've lost it. Basically, there seems to be a
Some kind of issue.
yeah, there seems to be an issue, and they're worried about. Apparently, they're going to be closing down, and it's not
Really,
just due to the
that's just
coronavirus.
rumor, though, right?
Well, you would think so from hearing that, but then, as I said, there was an announcement on this forum
Hmm.
talking, and again, you know what it's like when you're trying to find the thing,
Yeah.
from David Alexander, who's basically saying the news is quite
You're
grim.
sorry. You're referring to Richard,
Sorry,
the
Richard. Yeah.
the president. Yeah. So
Yeah.
he did make a statement. So that's the only hard facts we have on this right
Yeah,
now.
exactly, exactly. I'm just trying to find the link unless they've taken it down. No, here it is. Richard says it's grim. Oh, that's weird. Okay, they did have an actual link to it earlier.
Yeah,
Uh,
I thought there was.
isn't it terrible when you're trying to do live thing?
Yeah.
Basically, yeah. Some people said, the forum owner approached Richard Alexander. Other people have. Here it is. Okay, so Richard Alexander, general manager of Wingnut Rings, has responded to the forum request for an official comment on what is happening with the business right now and the reports of it being closed down permanently. He says, and I quote, "Nothing is finalized yet, but looks pretty grim. Very sad. I hope you understand that I have nothing I can say at this time." End quote. All right,
Yeah.
so there should be, hopefully, there's some rumors saying there should be some announcements coming here soon. Now, what's confusing a lot of people, Wingnut Wings has had on their site for a while, for a couple of weeks, because New Zealand's in a total lockdown. They're really being strict on the
Yeah.
COVID lockdown, so they're not shipping at the moment. They're not shipping anything out, stuff like that. The other issue was, and on this forum, there was a link from someone posted a link to the equivalent of the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, but a very far right, I won't say extremist group. So it really, you know, painted that too. So yeah, so this one was called the Taxpayer Union is calling on Sir Peter Jackson to front up and explain the megabucks his company's been pocketing from taxpayers. So what this is about is this is what a workshop in the film industry. They've
Hmm.
been getting tax breaks and stuff like that. That's pretty standard in many
Yeah.
countries.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure of the particulars. Um, but again, that could be standard depending what's happening with the money. I don't know. I haven't read it up on it enough.
Well,
Okay.
don't forget, like the WITA workshop and all those film companies, they're not the same company as
No, but
Wix is its own.
they're all owned by Sir Peter, and usually,
Yes. But
there's
they're
one
different
holding company.
entities. Yeah.
They
You know what I
can
mean?
be, but again, yeah. So you have to remember, Wingnuts is a labor of love. So we don't know, has it ever made money, right? Like this could be a
Yeah.
labor of love. The other things could be the other businesses that Peter has
Yeah.
could
The
be keeping
full
it
on.
afloat. We don't
Yeah.
know. And that's
Sure.
no one knows except them. The other thing that Peter has is he has another company that does basically airplane restorations. Okay, so it's
Mhm.
called the Vintage Aviator, and what they've done. This was actually I remember this a couple of years ago, and so what they do is they build from scratch World War One replica aircraft.
Yes. Yeah. I've heard of
Now,
that.
what happened was, yeah, a year or two ago, their senior manager there, he got done for embezzlement and stuff like that. So basically, this guy, and the trial was in the fall or late, no, the trial was in December, I believe. And
Mm-hmm.
he was found guilty. He was jailed for 2 years and 5 months. I believe there's an appeal, but there's a bunch of lawsuits. So basically, what happened was this guy ended up getting himself deep into debt and ended up selling some of the products without telling the company, right?
Okay.
And basically, Sir Peter literally one day he was looking at an open fly day, like pictures of it, and he went,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, wait a minute, that's one of our aircraft. I don't remember selling that." Um,
Jeez.
so yeah, there was a lot of messy stuff there. So this guy was basically the senior manager came to Peter for a $620,000 loan. It was supposed to be a short-term loan. It wasn't paid off.
Oh my
Uh,
goodness.
yeah, and then there was that. And then, like I said, there was a plan to sell a plane. The next thing I know, I recalled I was just surfing the internet one evening and saw a picture from a New Zealand's Warbirds Open Day and spotted a photo of one of his planes. He hadn't heard anything about a sale that
Yeah.
the company received. So anyway, that's a whole messy thing. And
Yeah.
apparently I've heard or I've seen some stuff. There's some lawsuits flying around that. Okay, so
Okay.
there's that issue there. So
Those are
think
in progress
this is
like
all in
issues. Yeah.
progress, right? So there could be any number of things going on. We don't know the truth yet. All we know is for the statement from the general manager, and a general manager of Wingnut saying a statement like that. This is not related to COVID. I'll tell you something right now.
Mm-hmm.
You have people saying, "Oh, maybe the molds were held up in China." Yeah, the molds are made in China, but
Yep.
again, everyone else has been on hold. China's opening up again. There is something more behind the scenes, and it could be just a
Yeah.
fact that, here's a theory, and it's just a theory. It could be, yeah, maybe the funding's about to be cut on Weta and some of the other stuff, so
Mm-hmm.
he's got to cut back spending. Like, who knows?
Yeah.
Now, the whole thing we need to find out is, and of course people are wondering, okay, will they sell the molds? Will they do stuff like that? Because the molds for Wingnut are the crown jewels,
Oh,
unlike
for
any
sure.
other. Right. So the question is there a company out there that would buy the molds and retain the quality, and stuff like that? So that
Yeah.
I'm sure is being discussed behind closed doors.
Mm-hmm.
We're just going to have to wait and see. In the meantime, apparently, I can't verify because I've never really been interested in these. There's a
Mm-hmm.
couple, but they've always been very expensive. Apparently, some resellers are now starting to sell these at vastly inflated prices.
Well, I think when there's any kind of publicity comes up, people try to see
Yeah.
what they can get, right? And bump
So
bump up the market. It's just sort of
yeah.
artificially inflated right now. Yeah.
So there's basically a lot of balls in the air. So we don't know
Yeah.
because again, it
Yeah.
could be related to any of this. The thing that didn't help is on this one form, they brought in this taxpayer federation thing, which is,
It
I
sounds like
looked into it. I
nuts.
looked into it and it's like, yeah, they're stretching the truth a lot.
Well,
Unless
it's a
again,
lot of
unless
speculation, right?
yeah, there's a lot of funny business. Now, as I say, on the Wingnut site, if you go to the Wingnut site, the site's still active.
Yeah.
And they have this posting from a couple of weeks, because I remember seeing this a couple of weeks ago. Due to New Zealand government regulations combating the spread of COVID-19,
Yep.
Wingnut Wings is temporarily closed and are working from home for the foreseeable future. In the interim, we will continue to accept your orders if you wish to place them, but will not be able to begin shipping that until late April 2020 at the earliest,
Okay.
probably even later than that. We really do appreciate your support at this time, but if you do decide to wish to cancel your order and receive a refund, that is okay. Please understand these are not normal times for any of us, and the
Yeah.
process might take several weeks before they can be processed. Thank you, and keep safe, everyone at Wingnut Wings. So, but this has been here for at least 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Um,
So that's
you
just your
know,
typical. I mean, people,
it's a
all
response is a
industries
response
are.
to
Yeah.
COVID. Yeah, unless the only other thing is they were running so close on the line that even a couple of weeks disruption would kill them. Again, that's possible through this any number of theories.
Yeah. There's definitely
Um,
a lot of industries that I mean, the disruption is so far-reaching You
Yep.
never know how these things are going to pop out.
Well, exactly. And obviously, this puts the Lancaster and the 0400 project up in the air. But again, if the sad news is true, hopefully another company of quality can pick up the molds and the IP,
You
because I
never
think
know.
there's
Yeah.
definitely a demand there. But again, the big question is, will anyone be able to afford the price that they're going to ask? Because these are, yeah, these are pretty
Yeah.
special molds. So we will keep people in the loop. And
You
yeah,
sure
we hope
will.
good news. And like I said, I was hoping we're recording this on Monday night on the 13th. Because it's Tuesday during the day in New Zealand right now. I
Mhm.
was hoping we'd hear something more, but I haven't seen anything yet. So,
Yeah.
which will usually mean just after we hit stop, news will come out.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's it for that. So let's move on to our mailbag. Smallish mailbag this week. Just a thank you from Hector Colon. He said, just wanted to drop a quick line to thank you for keeping up with the show. During this time of isolation, the three model podcasts are one of the things that is keeping me sane. Thanks,
Hmm.
Hector. Well, thank you
Oh,
very
thanks a
much.
lot. Thanks,
Yeah,
Hector. Appreciate that.
so that's
I hope
awesome.
everyone's enjoying the show. And yeah, it certainly is just a weird time, isn't it? I find
Mhm.
the
Very
days are
odd.
really blurring together, and you don't know when I'm going back to work, kind of thing. It's just sort of difficult
Yeah.
to foresee the future.
Well, I'm still working, so it's
Yeah.
challenging there because again, working for the hospitals, a lot of our projects have been put on hold and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So it's a bit tiring too, but there you go. Okay, let's move on. Hobby news or item news, all that good stuff. From our good friends at Airfix, the first frames have been shown from the new 1/72nd scale Spitfire 5C tooling.
Hmm.
I know this one's going to be popular with some people. So again, it's a nice, if you haven't done it already, I would suggest subscribing to their workbench updates at Airfix.
Hmm.
They're very good. They're very lengthy, very wordy, and they cover a lot of information. So they're showing the frames for the new
Hmm.
Spitfire with some of the cockpits. Again, at 72nd, it's small for me, but it looks pretty good. An
Yeah.
initial build-up. Looks like it's the clip wing variant, so it looks like it's going to be fun. And they've shown a couple of things like a painted up cockpit in 72nd to see how it
Oh, yeah.
looks.
Yeah.
Yep, they mentioned
It's all
that.
right.
And also in the same workbench update, they've got the new Cromwell tank there. Yeah, all sorts of different features. So I really recommend, if you have a chance, check out the updates from Airfix. The other one I should point out in this update, they also mentioned, we talked about it, the de Havilland Tiger Moth in 48
Hmm.
scale, very popular. I know when I got my weekly newsletter from Hannons, a lot of the aftermarket stuff was already sold out for this
Oh,
specific kit.
yeah.
There's a
Wow.
lot of people who have bought this kit and have been looking forward to it. So very cool news from Airfix. Okay, next up, for some reason I thought, did we talk about this TACOM turret Battleship Yamato in the previous episode?
I feel like that may have been mentioned.
Yeah, I think we did. I'm going to take that out.
Okay.
Somehow that slipped in. Okay, Mini Art. Mini Art's got an update from their British Lorry series, the B type. So this one is a commercial one. Looks like J. Cooper and Son Coles. So this is from the 2019 release. You remember the omnibus or whatever they were building?
Yep. Yes.
And it was built on an existing truck frame. So they're basically taking that, and they built a couple of different ones now. So this one is basically some new parts, some new decals to build it like this open box sort of thing. And it
Yeah,
and
that's
then
cool.
looks very nice, very nice looking, 35th scale. Um, they've got a good explanation. Our friends at the Modeling News have covered it off. These were used as troop transports during the war as well. You could carry up to 12 troops. That includes the whole chassis, the engine,
Hmm.
clear parts. Very nicely detailed, very similar to the other one.
Yeah.
Yep. So definitely some photo etch, some nice decal parts.
I bet you
Looks like
this is a fairly small build-up. I bet it's not a very like the in 35th
yep.
scale. I bet it's not quite a
Yep,
large
but again,
vehicle, but
yep, and
yeah,
and three or four different schemes, so that's going to be cool. So,
yeah.
and that's available now, so you can grab that now, if apparently from your local mini art distributor. Okay, I noticed this one the other day when I was on ScaleMates. I didn't see much
Uh-huh.
release. Hong Kong Models, as you know, they build a lot of 132nd big things.
Yep.
The our modern, particularly British jet fans will be very happy with this.
Oh yeah.
1/32 scale Royal Navy Phantom FG1, the Silver Jubilee edition in
Cool.
1/32. This is a
So the
big beat.
Silver Jubilee was 69?
The Silver Jubilee is normally 25 years since the Phantom. So
67?
yeah, it would have been like 67 because these were in operation from the late 60s. So I'm
Yeah.
assuming it was the 25th. This one represents the 25th year of them operating.
Oh, not like the Queen's Silver
No,
Jubilee, like
no,
in
no,
honor of
no. A
okay.
Silver Jubilee is 25. You
Okay.
always get so
Gotcha.
once you and the missus are married for 25 years, you're
Hmm.
supposed to give silver. You're supposed to
Oh,
give silver. Yeah,
duly
apparently.
noted.
Yeah. And if it's
Okay.
50 years, I believe it's diamonds or gold. So keep that
Ah.
in mind. Yeah, there's a whole listing of things. I
Mm.
remember first year was paper, and then it goes from there. Anyway, back to this. This is going to be a beast. So the only thing I see about it right now is an entry in ScaleMate. So I went to Hong Kong Models, and
Yeah.
nothing there. Their website doesn't keep up to date. But yeah, this one looks very good. I hope it's not a hoax. 555 mil web wingspan, so 55 centimeters across, and just 60 centimeters in length. This is a big beastie.
So this is
And
really quite early on then if it was
yeah,
just a
yep,
box art kind of
yep,
promo
yep.
shot.
We're gonna
'Cause
have to
that
look
looks like a
for.
drawing even. Like
Well,
a
yeah, yeah, that's a painting of some
yeah,
sort.
painting. Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
but again, this is, air fixed to the 72nd scale one, and I have one in my stash,
Yeah.
and very popular release. Matchbox did one years ago, so
Yeah.
yeah, this will be interesting to see how this pans out. Again, it's going to be expensive. I see some of the stores at ScaleMate. Sprue Brothers has it for $329.
My goodness.
But again,
It's
very
huge
preliminary.
though. It's a big
It is.
plane. It's such a big
It's a
scale.
big plane on its own anyway. Yeah, but you got to remember, Hong Kong builds. They had the,
Yeah.
they built the B-17, the B-24s. They do a lot of stuff in big. They've done the Mosquito.
It's
Um,
almost a new classification. Baby
People, well,
Monstro.
I always say, where the heck do people put these things?
Baby
Like,
Monstro. You got to hang it from the ceiling.
well, maybe like they're the ones that have the Avro Lancaster in 1/32.
I
They have the
guess.
couple of different variations of the Mitchell. They're big kits. They're usually fairly well made.
Yeah. I
Uh,
do have a 48 scale Phantom from the Academy one.
well,
And
scale it up a bit.
it's
Yeah,
pretty large.
yeah, it's
Like
pretty
it's a
large.
big build.
I used to have an old Monogram Air Force one when I was a kid, and it was pretty big. So,
So did I.
uh,
The 72nd. I had the
yeah,
72nd one for I
I
don't
had
know
the
if it was for
48.
Val or
I had the 48th.
yeah.
So. Okay, moving on. I notice because
What's
again
next?
I'm building gyrocopters for the Mooseheart
Yes.
Cup. I
Hmm.
noticed Kitty Hawks. They're coming out with a all new tool of the venerable UH-1B Huey helicopter
That's
from the
awesome.
Vietnam era. So that'll be a fairly large one, and again, good for the diorama builders.
Hmm. Yeah.
Again, just some initial release, not too much about it yet. So I just wanted to note that because I know we have some fans of people that do build helicopters.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
the
awesome.
next one is one I've heard quite a bit on the interwebs and the forums. A lot of the armor guys, especially World War II German armor guys, they're very excited about this. This is a new tool from TACOM, the Stug 3 OSG Early. So this is a whole new tool, and apparently people are really excited about this. Again, I assume because
Interesting.
yeah, I'm assuming because there hasn't really been one well done or one well done in a while. I'm going to assume that I'm not a World War II armor guy, but just
I've
based on what I'm seeing on the
seen a
forum,
lot of Stug models,
yeah,
but
there's a
I
bunch. There's a
couldn't
pile.
differentiate.
Yeah, there's a pile of different ones
Yeah.
over the years.
Like
But from
certainly
what I,
Tanya's done them, and I wonder if there are any of quality for those particular World War II builders.
yeah, like if I look again at our friends at ScaleMates, I'm not seeing anything for the early. I'm seeing some stuff. Well, I see a Dragon one from 2009.
Okay.
Uh, but again, I know dragons sometimes were hit and miss. So a lot of people are excited about TACOM having this kit.
Hmm.
So again,
Cool.
very, very early release. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Trumpeter
Yeah.
in April. So they've got two new kits, but it's essentially the same
Mhm.
kit with two different variations. So
Okay.
again, this is like their big army truck. Um, the
The head,
M11,
the Hemet or whatever.
1120. Yeah,
Yeah.
the M11. So this time you have the M11 and the M894. And these are basically big ass trucks that the Army uses. So these are both based on a 2015 Reeboks. So the original mold was made in 2015, but they have two different variations. So the first one is the container handling unit, so the 1120. So this thing again basically has a giant hoist on the back. You know how like you see the cars
Yeah.
when your car gets towed.
Be
This is a little
winched
bit
up.
different.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one does containers.
Hmm.
Um, Provides heavy wheel recovery and crane recovery, lift assistance to 10-ton or lighter tactical vehicles. And its lift and tow system can recover disabled vehicles in about 2 to 3 minutes.
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, it comes with masks again for the canopy, not canopy, driver section, the cab.
Yeah.
Good
Window
number.
masks, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
window mass. Yep, a little bit of photo etch looks like. 308 millimeters in length, 103 millimeters in width, 671 plus parts. These do come with rubber tires.
Mhm.
Metal tube and photo etch included. So yeah, apparently the main tires are hollow rubber with a very good tread pattern. I know people have mixed feelings about rubber tires, but there you go. The other one
Hmm.
is another variation on this one is the 1142 tactical firefighting truck. So again, 35th scale. So this is the HEMTT chassis mated with a commercial firefighting package. So again, this would be used on base or at an airport or whatever.
For
It
sure. Yeah.
was delivered for testing in 2005 and first ones went out in 2011. So again, just an army green fire truck with a lot of hoses. No, I'm kidding. A few more things than that, obviously.
Yeah.
But again, a
Huh.
lot of decals, comes with the masks,
Yep.
uh, all sorts of different hazmat aircraft and all that. This is a nice, again, I love these sort of vehicles. So again, metal parts, photo etch parts, 770 plus parts in this one.
Wowza.
That's a
Huh.
lot of
A
parts.
lot
I
of
don't,
equipment and gear and
I
like you
guess
said,
so,
all
yeah.
the
And a lot
water
of 2 frets of
plumbing
photo
stuff.
etch. Yep. So this looks cool as well. And again, there's a whole submarket of people that love building these things.
Cool.
So
I
that
bet you
looks,
this would make a very impressive build because it's a
yeah,
large vehicle in 35th scale.
yeah,
Yeah, it would be eye-catching, I think, done well at
yeah.
at a show, hopefully in the
Yeah,
future.
I think it would be very, very good. So those are available apparently now as well during April from Trumpeter distributors. Of course, your mileage may vary with the way shipping and that's going these days. So,
Yeah, be patient.
okay, Revell, Germany, our good friends at Revell. Early April, they've got a bunch of stuff on preview. A lot of stuff, I'm afraid, well, I'm afraid or not. Some people are excited about it. Is basically repops. Not much
Yeah.
that's new that what I can see. So we start with the F-35, 1/72 scale. This is an Italeri mold
Yep.
from 2015, I believe.
Yeah, it's
It's
still
a re
relatively new.
Yep, it's a repop. It actually looks really nice. It's got some brand new decals. So this includes the 421st Fighter Squadron, the Black Widows at
Hmm.
Hill Air Force Base, or the 63rd Fighter Squadron, 56 Fighter Wing at Hatch Air Force Base. Um, so again, decals, stuff like that. Yeah, it looks like it's a fairly good buildup. Next up is a Citron 2 Cosero. So this is a repop as well. I think we talked about this last year. This one's basically coming as a combo set, so you have the paint and the glue
Okay.
with
Yep.
it as well. But you can build it as an open or closed roof. Actually, we covered this earlier in the year. I remember the actual paint and decal scheme.
Yeah.
Again, little Italian things, got the engine and everything. Very Spartan, but looks like it's been detailed up. The interior has been built
Hmm.
up well. So that's going to be available. And sorry, I didn't give the price. The F-35 was 25 euros,
Hmm.
and this one's 35 euros. But again, it comes with some paint and glue apparently.
Yeah.
Um, Moving on, we have the FB-111 Raven. This is the F-111 in a electronic warfare
Yes.
scheme.
Yeah.
It's got the great big bloody bulge on the back fin, on the back tail, whatever.
Yeah. Like a sensor
Again,
pod, I think that's what that
yeah,
is.
sensor pod. So there's some new decals. Includes one was in Desert Storm in '91. and
Oh
one
yeah.
that was at RAF Upper Hayford in '86. I'm afraid to say this again is a repop, and this is a very old one. This repop actually, the base kit's from 1984. They haven't
Oh,
really done much with it, but again, you can do a lot of good things with it. I've seen this kit before at shows, and
okay.
people manage to do a good job with it. But yeah,
Is there
it's an
no
old.
other that is it the aardvark?
Yeah, this is the aardvark.
Is there no
Not
other
really.
kits of that?
Not a lot, or at least not from here. If you look back through the history,
Yeah.
this has been repopped under different manufacturers, and
Oh
it was
yeah.
Monogram. I don't remember if it was Revell or Monogram originally. They were both the ScaleMates entry shows around the same year. So, but
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
um, yeah. So, but again, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with repops. And this one will set you back 19 euros. It's only 63 parts too, so that's another
Okay.
giveaway. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
the
for
age of it.
sure.
If you look at the sprue thing, yeah, it's an older kit. What do we have next? We have for the car guys, Ford Mustang Boss 302. This
Hmm?
is actually a fairly recent repop. This is from 2013. So this will set you back 29 euros, 128 parts. Looks like a nice little yellow with like the black pinstriping and all that. Fairly
Mm-hmm.
attractive looking for the car builders. Good basic engine from what I see there. Looks like it builds up fairly well. So basically the kit and some decals. So again, just a new decal set basically with this one.
Yep.
Next up, 1/72nd scale from Russia, the T55A AM with the KMT6 or EMT5. This is a tank, main battle tank, which has a mine clearing option on it.
Ah,
So
okay.
so basically, yeah. So basically, some new parts. Again, fairly recent kit. The
Mm-hmm.
original kit was built in 2016, so they're adding the mine clearing as the new parts. What's kind of cool about this, if you look at the mine clearing attachment,
Mm-hmm.
if you're clearing a mine, you don't want to turn in place because if you look there, it's just in front of the tracks.
Yeah, I noticed that. It wasn't like a full width
Yeah, full on
plow
or
or
something.
whatever,
Yeah,
plow.
yeah. I'm not sure how that works, but again,
So
anyway,
it just you just have to stay in the tracks if you're
don't
in a
don't turn it.
convoy.
Don't turn in the minefield
Yeah.
yourself. It may
Don't stray.
don't stray. It
Follow the
may
tracks of the
yeah.
convoy.
May end up being a bad day. Okay, these next two, I'm going to cover them both together. These are very old. These are the X-Wing fighter and Darth Vader's TIE fighter.
Oh,
This is in 1/57 scale. These are more toys.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, these are very basic. These are actually reboxes from 2006. It was
Really?
designed to be a very basic kit to put together.
Like an
Uh,
entry thing for kids, maybe.
yeah.
Entry
So the X,
level kind
well, it's 38 parts for the X-Wing. It's
of.
20
Okay.
euros.
Yeah.
They're both the same scale. And again, they even say here it's a very simple kit.
Yeah, it looks
Darth
pretty
Vader's TIE
rudimentary.
fighter. Yeah, 28. But again, it's a good size, smaller size.
Yeah.
But it
Well,
looks
this is
like
certainly
basic decal.
something manageable for younger, sort of very
I would
beginner.
think so, with a little bit
Yeah.
of help. Yeah, exactly. Comes with a Darth Vader figure. Comes with a
Yeah.
pilot figure. Kind of very,
I
very,
think
very.
these are pre-painted too.
They might be. I'm not
I
sure. Let
think
me.
so. I
Yeah, maybe. Let me just see if there's anything on the Rebel website about that.
I wonder if these are pre-colored. I can just tell by looking at the paint in the pictures.
Well, it's certainly these come from before they had the deal with Bandai. Let me put it that way. These
Yeah.
were these were the Revell ones. So
Yeah.
yeah, very very basic. But
I'm not sure about that, but I wonder.
yeah, it says it comes with decals and that. So yeah,
Yeah. But you
yeah.
know what? That's certainly model kits are not the easiest thing to get into.
No, no. But again,
So
it'll have an
yeah,
audience somewhere. Maybe not for us advanced builders, but
yeah,
certainly some
kids.
of
Yeah.
that. Okay, moving on. Our friends at Hobby Boss, they've got two very large releases this month. So the
Hmm.
first one again is I think it's a newer mold or it's from a 2013 Merit kit. This is the ME262A1A in 1/18th scale.
Oh my.
So this is similar a scale to what they did their Harrier for. So this is
Yeah.
a big beast, absolutely big beast.
Yeah.
So they have some sprue shots here, and I know our friends at On the Bench were talking about this.
Oh
And,
yeah.
and again, they were saying they were kind of disappointed in the level of detail they were seeing now. They said these are small pictures,
Yep.
you know, but they were kind of expecting something a little bit more. And again, I'm not going to argue with them. I'm not sure what else.
Yeah.
It even comes with metal screws because I guess when you build something this big, you have to screw it together. Um,
Interesting.
so this is 60, just under 60 centimeters in length, 68 centimeters in width, 230 parts. Again, would you expect more or less for an aircraft?
230 parts for,
An aircraft.
but it's a World War II aircraft, so it's
Yeah.
going to be
So
smaller than sort of today's,
yeah, I'm just,
jet fighters.
yeah, the only thing that
Huh.
strikes me is I'm looking at the sprue shots
Yeah.
and you'd kind of think you'd see more for the cockpit. That's what I'm
Oh,
kind of,
okay. I'm just looking at how they have the instrument panel split into two pieces where you have like the hollow
yeah,
bezels, and then
yeah,
like have the panels behind it. I'm wondering if you are
maybe.
to put the decals on to
Yeah.
the one panel that fits behind and through the
Well,
lenses.
you know what's interesting? If you look at the decal sheet, which is rather frightening, they've got each individual instrument grounded as a
Yeah.
separate decal.
I like that because that
Oh,
means you have
tedious.
a spot to put your dial face and you can't screw it up.
Yeah,
And
I don't know.
put it.
In one way, I would like if you're going to put a face on top of it, just put the whole thing, make life easier. That's just me though,
Yeah.
because looks like at least you go from decal 44 to decal 68, so that's 20 plus. Plus there's a couple other ones I see there.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it'll be interesting. So
Uh,
anyway, that's
we'll have to
that's
see. We're
20.
gonna have to see
Yeah.
some feedback
Now,
from somebody who's really excited about that subject.
yeah. The other curious thing, if you look at the decal sheet at the bottom, it
Yeah.
mentions the name, and they've got a typo, Hobby Booze, and it's both in this one and the next subject we're going to talk about. They have a
Oh,
mis.
I see that. That's because it's printed
Okay,
somewhere else.
probably.
Printed in another company in Japan
Yeah.
or China.
Okay. Also, speaking of big, so this is 1/32 scale. This is
Yeah.
B26B intruder, 1/32. So this is a
Hold
B20.
on a second. Is that an invader or an intruder?
Sorry, this is the
The
intruder
invader.
invader.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, you're right. And then they called it the B26 after. This is an A26.
Okay.
So this was built towards the end of the war,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and very capable aircraft. But this is going to be big too, at 1/32 scale.
Yeah,
Um, uh,
huge.
yeah,
This is like one of those mid-sized bombers
yeah. This is similar
that
to a Mitchell,
yeah, so it wasn't
slightly big.
carrier based, but they were
Nope,
able to
it
get
served in
from
Korea. Served in
island to
Korea.
island.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a big aircraft. It's bigger than the Mitchell.
Wow.
And again, if I look at the sprues count on this one looks a little bit more detailed. This is what I'm kind of expecting
Okay.
when I look at the other one. That's all.
But see
Um,
now that instrument panel on that one is a single piece.
yeah,
So you
yeah,
gotta paint, you have to figure out how to paint
yeah. It's just interesting.
or
Did
I
two
don't know.
different styles, right?
Yeah.
Um, so
It's different
270,
scales, right?
yeah, 270 parts, 13 sprues, some photo etches included,
Yeah.
grooved rubber tires, finely detailed cockpit. So yeah, again, I don't have a price. It's available from distributors now worldwide. You get two different marking choices.
Yeah.
Uh,
Interesting that the photo etch sheet included has a copyright date of 2018 on it.
yeah, that's what makes me wonder.
That's kind of
Um,
interesting. Like, has it
yeah,
taken that long? I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if it's taken that long to kind of get it together,
well, maybe.
right?
Now, I did tried to look up other ones that have been built in the scale, and there hasn't really been anything recently other than that one I mentioned at the
Okay.
beginning. So yeah, I suspect this is a new mold or it's taken from this other company.
Yeah.
So again, that's just my theory. I'm not an expert. I'm not a
Mhm.
doctor. Please don't count this as legal advice. If I covered my
Use
ass,
at your own peril.
use at your own peril. Don't
Yeah.
don't 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 run while holding a knife. Don't yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Okay, let's move on. Hobby Boss. Hobby Boss is another one. I love getting news from them. They have a fairly frequent newsletter that comes out.
Yeah.
So I like rewarding companies that do this. So they've got a couple of ones they're mentioning. They've got 70-second versions of their SF-37 Vigan.
Okay.
This is
Sorry,
again,
Stu. You said hobby boss, right? We're into special
sorry,
hobby
special
now.
hobby. My
There we
apologies.
go.
I'm getting as bad as, some other people I know in the podcast way.
I feel like
You
you have model overload. There's too many
model,
models all
too
bounced
many
around in your
models.
brain.
Uh, All right, special hobby. Sorry, this
There
is
you
the
go.
SF37. This is a Reeboks with some brand new decals. The kit was only released couple of years ago, so it's very new, but
Good.
just a nice, attractive set of decals. It's
Oh
called
yeah.
Swedish Eyes. You see a nice little wolf on the back there, and yeah, this looks a very attractive one. Looks
Sure.
like you get that plus the standard Swedish Air Force scheme. This is the reconnaissance one version of the aircraft.
Hmm.
And then an all-new mold. This looks like a World War II aircraft, the J-20, Hey J-1. I'm slaughtering that, I'm sure.
Heya or Heya or something maybe.
Yeah,
Heya
something
one.
like that. So this looks like a nice-looking late 30s monoplane that would have been in the Swedish Air Force. Oh, actually, this was Italian originally. RE 2000 Italian, wearing colors of two foreign operators. So they saw service with the Hungary Air Force and the
Okay.
Swedish one. So
Ah, okay.
there
Yeah.
you go. But yeah, so the wing sprues are based on the classic airframe models. All the others are brand new. So they've taken the
Huh.
wing sprues from classic and then they've done their own for the rest.
Interesting. I
Interesting.
wonder, they must have thought they were pretty good to begin with.
Yep. Yep. Looks like a little
Huh.
bit of resin comes with that one as well.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay, let's take a look at what's hot at our good friends of Scalemates. We should
Hmm.
also point out to our listeners, in probably 2 episodes from now, we had a fantastic interview with the owner of Scalemates a couple of
Yes,
days
Tim.
ago, and we're looking for Tim. We're looking forward to bringing that to you. So anyway, so hot kits right now. Obviously, the Stug 3 we talked about, that that Huey. Now this is what I didn't see. Meng's got a British FV 510 Warrior TES in 135th.
Hmm.
The 148 scale Tornado, the SR71 is still there. That P38, the Tamiya Lightning, it's still holding strong.
Yeah.
The Tiger Moth, obviously, we've talked about that. The Rye Field full interior for the Sherman.
Hmm.
What else is here? The British Lawyer. You ever notice the stuff we talk about is all the cool stuff? It's
Oh
fun,
yeah.
funny that. Um, so yeah, all sorts of goodies here. You know what I do notice? Remember we were just talking about the F-35B Lightning?
Yep.
Yeah, it's on here from 2019. The tool for that.
Okay. Okay. So
Also,
what are they just popping on a new one with new decals?
yeah, obviously.
Another decal set, maybe a. That makes
They have,
sense, right? If you've got
well,
a
yeah,
nice modern mold, you
yep.
might as well throw it out with
If
a
someone's willing to pay you
limited
money,
limited decal set, right?
yeah.
Like that makes
If
sense.
someone's willing to pay you the money to
You
pay for
also,
the license.
yeah, and you also appeal to those builders who are looking for something different or like their favorite more obscure reference to, like, some
Exactly.
kind of squadron or something.
Yep.
I mean,
Well, and you
yeah, we see
go
that
ahead.
all the time. I
Yep.
was gonna say we do see that well, it takes so much effort to get a mold for a kit put out. They got to maximize their kind of
Well, exactly.
marketing possibilities.
Exactly. And I see your must-have, your carrier deck section from Italia is still up here.
I don't know where to buy that thing from.
Well, you should be able to. Let's click on it. Let's see. Scalemates will always give you if it's out yet. That's the
Yeah.
question. It may not
Well,
be
this is
out yet.
2020. Yeah, I
Yeah, I
mean,
don't see
it's
it
still
out yet.
early.
You'll just have to wait and see. You'll have to be patient, Anthony.
Foaming at the mouth.
I know. Well, please don't do that. They may think you have your wife may think you have rabies and shoot you.
I'll
I'm
get
just
one
saying.
sometime.
In these times. Also on the list is the Airfix 172nd scale MiG 17F. I
Uh-huh.
know David from Scale Model Mojo. He's loving these. He's
Oh
built
yeah.
one up and he keeps threatening to buy a case of them. He really likes that kit. He's a big fan of the aircraft. And
Sorry,
yeah,
which
just
one? Which
the
one was
MiG
that?
17, the Fresco, the
Oh, okay.
Airfix. Yeah, it's a tiny build, but he's a real fan of them, and
Yep.
he's been raving about it on his podcast. So.
Oh, good, good.
So, like I said, all sorts of other stuff there. Feel free to check that out at our friends at scalemates.com. Okay, and that's all the news that's fit to print, fit to line the birdcage, etc., etc. Okay, let's talk about what's the scoop. We have a wonderful what's the scoop. And you know what? This was all you because you came up with the name, the concept. So
Yeah,
I'm turning it over to you. This is great.
sure thing. Yeah, so our what's the scoop is we're having a new segment called Bench to Bench. And I think it'll be a kind of a here and there kind of series. So volume 1 is a shorter interview I did with Aaron Skinner, the senior editor at Fine Scale magazine.
Mhm.
So basically, all of the staff at Kalmbach have been working from home as much as possible, which is quite a bit because they're basically writers.
Yep.
And so he's been doing kind of these stay-at-home little video blogs about kind of he's got a bunch of builds on the go, things he's doing for work, or like for the magazine, for Fine Scale Modeler. And so he's been giving people updates. And I just kind of clicked on him while I was been watching him, seeing what he's been up to, and thought, oh well, I actually could ask him some questions about. And then you're seeing a bit of his bench, and I thought,
Mhm.
okay, well, we need something just to boost the spirit of all the modelers who are hunkered down,
Exactly.
being good citizens, staying home. So I rang him up and we set it up. So it's just a quick, I think, well, it's about 40 minutes or so,
40
and
minutes.
we're
Yep.
yeah, and because basically on the Scale Model podcast, we bring you the news, we talk about what's happening in industry, but we don't do a lot of kind of shop talk, right?
Mhm.
Well, it's less, let's say. It's definitely not the main focus. So we had a really interesting chat about just the kits he's building, some of the tools that he likes to use, a little bit of his process, kind of his work bench, and a little bit of mine. And yeah, so that is going to be premiering first for Patreon supporters, so they'll get it
A
I'm
week
sorry, is it
ahead.
a week in
Yep.
advance, and
Yep.
then a week later we'll release it on scalemodelpodcast.com
Yep.
for
We'll
everyone to
throw it
check
on
out.
yeah, we'll throw it
Yeah,
out on the YouTube channel with a
yeah.
link to the page. So that will hopefully come out this week. It depends how soon I can get my tail in gear after editing this episode.
Mhm,
Yep, so it's actually a video one. We use Skype for that, and everyone's casual. You'll see Anthony,
mhm.
looking like a skater punk in his
Oh
hoodie.
my goodness, it was freezing down
I
here in
know
my
you were
little shop.
casual. It's all right. He was casual, and you even got to see Aaron, one of his cats, made a very brief
Yes,
appearance as well.
that's right.
So
Yeah,
yeah, no, it was a good conversation, good fun, and again, yeah, it's something we're gonna hopefully do with some different
yeah.
people. We're gonna reach out to them, and we'll go from there. So we're really looking forward to bringing you that.
Awesome.
O- Okay, let's talk about our sponsor. Oh yeah, that's you also.
Yeah.
Goodman Models. What's happening?
Oh, well, not too much. My next shipping date is April 17th, so that's this
Mhm.
Friday. I
Mhm.
got about 6 orders kind of in the queue right now. So
Awesome.
I'm trying to obviously not go out unless absolutely possible. So instead of my normal next day shipping when I get an order in, I've just sort of been collecting them and saying
Yep.
that, hey, just due to the, limiting how many times I have to go out, I'm just doing every 2 weeks. So feel free to order. I have everything in stock right now. And yeah, I think that probably I'm hoping that most people are staying at home to help kind of combat the spread of the coronavirus, and that you're working and you might need some tools. So yeah, grab a set from goodmanmodels.com. You can still buy them at flexifile.com. Um, Wheels and Wings in Toronto has them right now in stock. All the places that normally carry them have them.
Yep.
And yeah, grab a set, and hopefully it'll help you with all your building requirements or all your different projects you've got on the go right now.
Exactly. I guess we should also point out not only do you have the Super Sanding Block Value Pack, which has been
Yes.
the standard go-to, you have the Value Pack Combo.
Oh yeah. You know what? I did have one poor customer. Um, Maybe that's something I should change, but he was expecting to buy he wanted to buy the value pack combo where you get the super stand in it, and
Ah,
it's you get a buck off, and he ended up just clicking
the wrong
on
one.
the regular value pack, which is just a set
Yep.
as it comes. So on the page when you go, I'll try and organize it a bit more clearly, but you have to pick one or the other. So
Right.
and I do sell the super stand separately,
Hmm.
and I just got a new batch from Sean's custom model tools, so I've got
Yep.
about 25 of those in stock. So
Excellent. In
yeah,
that rare, hard to find Goodman Green.
It's the official Goodman green, so it's not hard to
Official.
find. Get them from Goodman
Official.
Models. Yeah.
Yeah.
What we came up with was sort of green has been my sort of color,
Mm-hmm.
and I love the color green, and so I had him print me, or the ones for me, in this green color, and
Yep.
then he can do all kinds of colors. I'm not sure the full list, but he's offering kind of like a standard color, which is like the
Right.
set price, and then he can do custom colors for, I think it's like an added
Right.
dollar or two. You can pick a
Yeah.
custom color, and if you want the green one though, you got to get it from
You
goodmanmodels.com.
can only get the green from Goodman. See,
Yeah,
green from Goodman. That could
that's
be like
right.
a tagline. That could be a tagline. Goodman Green. There you go. You can make up
Exactly.
your own green.
It's a thing already. It's
It's a
it's official
thing
good
already.
green.
Hashtag Goodman Green. You'll start seeing it everywhere.
Yeah, for
Exactly.
sure.
All right. And as always, we thank Goodman Models for their support. Use the product. I
Uh,
recommend it. And not
Thank
just
you.
not just because I podcast with them. It's an awesome product. So
Right
check it
on.
out. Okay, moving on. We have part two of our interview with Mike Rinaldi. Do you want to kind of
Yes.
just remind people where
Sure.
we're at with Mike?
Yep. So as you were mentioning, our last episode, we had the part one with Mike. Mike's an awesome guy. He's super passionate. I think he's our
Yeah.
first swearing guest too. So he's
Oh,
got that
probably.
honor.
All right.
Um, I don't know if if that was in this part or the part from last week, but what an interesting guy. So he wrote these books, Tank Art, and then there was another subset called SM. I'm trying to think of what SM stood for. Single model, where he
Something like that.
focuses all
Yeah.
on one topic. But he's really come up with a bunch of different techniques, and then sort of has been sort of I guess educating people or illuminating people on these really neat techniques using oil paints. He talks about oil paint rendering. He has a really fun style of modeling, and I think that was one of the things he was really after, was to make it less kind of like clinical and make it more fun and like use your paintbrush. And so
Mhm.
when I was doing my Aliens APC build, I read Tank Art 3,
Okay.
and he really talks a lot about kind of this philosophy about how you do your models, and he also goes into like how you do them, and it's really different. It's fun. I used a ton of oil paints to get the look I wanted,
Right.
and it was no stress because I'm a very anxious modeler, I think. I always get into
No,
it.
not at all.
There's
Not
a
at
lot of
all.
furling in my eyebrows when I'm looking at trying to figure out what the heck I'm doing. But
If
he had a really
The Musaru Cup taught
oh
me anything, it taught me that about you.
yes. So he has this approach where when you work with oil paints, um, it really gives you a lot of chance to go backwards or forwards. Like
Okay.
you can look at it and say, hey, this is not what I want, and just kind of start again and go to
Mhm.
like and pick up where you left off and work to the way you want to go. So I found it really very flexible. And
Right.
yeah, he talks. I don't know if we talk too much about. We'll have to get him again maybe and talk more about some of those oil paint rendering
Yep.
and mapping and these different ideas. And a lot of it, it's not completely brand new, but he certainly he talks about maybe some of the old ideas in a new way. And
Right.
yeah, that was quite. He's a
Yeah,
fascinating guy to listen
he
to.
is. He is. And I know a lot of people have appreciated the first one. So let's get right into the second one right now. And we're back. That was just an absolutely great conclusion to that interview. I know a lot of people were looking forward to hearing Mike talk.
Yeah, and I remember we should point out that he was really cool. If you go to his website, he's put out a whole bunch of free
Yes.
PDF files of
Yeah. That
go check it out right now.
you just download, you put a certain code in, he mentions what it is, and just
Yeah.
downloads through his e-commerce system. Yeah, and
Yeah.
they're really good. I grabbed a few of them.
Yeah, they're awesome. And even if you only pick through a little bit and pick up one or two kind of different ideas, um,
Hmm.
they they're it's really cool that he's kind of getting that stuff out there for free. So,
Yep.
enjoy something, maybe take a different look at a process that you've been doing, and that's kind of nice. And his books are really great, but they're premium, right? They're not cheap,
Yeah.
and I don't think putting books out is a cheap endeavor, but I think
No,
that's pretty
no,
cool.
and he mentioned that during the interview. We talked
Yeah,
about some of the process of that. So yeah,
yeah.
but no, he's got some good stuff. Like I said, he's one of the most, when we were starting the podcast, he was one of the most requested people that other people were suggesting I reach out to and we
Oh yeah,
interview.
yeah.
So yeah, he's very well known in the community. And that's awesome. So okay, so moving on, talking tools. This is one of mine this time.
Yeah,
This is liquid gravity. This stuff's wonderful. This is from Deluxe Materials out in the UK,
I
and
love deluxe materials.
they do a lot of different stuff. They originally did a lot for model airplane guys, and then they expanded to trains and that. But this is liquid gravity. This is basically it's a non-toxic, as they describe it, a non-toxic, easy-flowing weighting system. So
Hmm.
you it can be used for models, railway rolling stock, etc. So
Yep.
the idea is it's designed to be poured into small cavities and set in place with your favorite glue. So what this is these are very tiny, like almost like ball bearings, except they're not, but they're very heavy. So
Yep.
the idea behind this is, like in the past when we do airplanes, we'd sometimes stick the lead fishing weight or something like that. But
Yeah.
sometimes you don't have the room to stick something in.
Yeah.
This stuff's awesome. So I actually used it on the Valkyrie, the VF1 Valkyrie. So the idea is you basically pour this stuff into a spot you want to do, and then you just, I won't say flood it, but you basically cover it with CA glue till it sets, and it
Hmm.
provides a good weight.
Nice.
Yeah. So the Valkyrie is not going to be a tail sitter now. So I love it. You can use it in combination of other things. So on the Valkyrie, I actually put a small screw in as well, just to help fill the space because it
Yep.
didn't need
A
a
little
lot.
weight. Yeah.
But yeah, this stuff is wonderful. I really recommend it
That's
for
cool.
both the model railroaders and the model kit
Oh yeah,
builders.
that's a big deal for like HO trains, right? They got to have the right weight or they don't couple
Unreliable. Yep,
correctly, and yeah,
exactly. So
there's
what's
weights and all
good
that
is
stuff.
on the Gravity site for about it, on the link we've given, they actually have a nice video and they have a couple of PDFs about how to use the products. So
Cool.
really recommend it. It's one of those things where you go, oh, do I really need it? But, especially if you're building smaller stuff, I suppose if you're building larger, like nothing but 1/32 scale, there's probably enough room. You can use
Yeah.
your bunch of fishing weights, or I've got a bucket of screw, literally a bucket
Yeah.
of screws.
I know. I always use random bits of whatever to kind
Yeah.
of do that
But this
process,
stuff
but
this stuff's great. The only thing I recommend is when you're pouring it in, especially the first time, do it in like a bowl or something, just
uh,
in case you use a little bit much, because these are tiny,
yeah,
like
yeah.
really tiny. You
Do you
don't want
have
to be trying to pick
d
these up.
yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah,
Do
it
you have a
comes in
price for listeners?
it really varies. So the UK has it for £9.95. I picked it up locally. I think it was 15 Canadian. Like it's not terribly expensive, and a bottle's going to last you a while.
Yeah, and that probably get you through lots of projects, right?
Yeah,
Especially
yeah.
if you're buying stuff
The
second.
bottle is like a smallish to mid-size, 240 grams, but it's bigger than a Vallejo bottle. I'm just looking at the one I have. It's about the size of a Styren's primer bottle, if you can imagine that,
Yeah.
or like a small squeeze bottle.
Hmm.
But yeah, it works really, really well. It's another tool in the toolkit. I thoroughly endorse it and recommend it.
Right on.
Yeah, and they have all sorts of other cool stuff. Because of course we've talked about their perfect plastic puppy or puppy putty.
Yeah.
No, no, I don't have any plastic dogs here. And they also do a lot of CA stuff and things like that. CA glues. They're very, very popular manufacturer, particularly in the UK, and I'm starting to see them more and more in North America.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, what's on the bench? So, my Valkyrie, its decaling's well underway. The aqueous paint went on absolutely beautifully. Quite a few coats of the off-white, like any other off-white, to get it looking decent, but it actually dries to like a semi-gloss to a gloss. It's actually perfect for airplanes. Like you wouldn't have to do anything on top of it if you didn't want to.
Nice.
So yeah, went on very well. Decaling's underway. A couple of things I've learned now is that really I should have because I had assembled a lot of the subcomponents and then put them all together. I should have assembled, painted, and even put some decals on some of the subcomponents. Just the way they have some of the decals, or I should have trimmed some of the decals. I could have, done that too.
Yeah, and we were discussing it. My one and only Valkyrie build is from almost 10 years ago. I'm trying to remember back how I did it, and I remember having issues with those
Yeah, there's just
the
some spots you
decals.
go, yeah, you wish you'd kind of put it on before you assembled something because it makes
Yeah,
it very tight. And that's
I'm
mostly
not
what it
sure
is.
if I left because the way they have it set up for the construction is that you can slide in the cockpit to the
Yeah,
fuselage, right?
yeah, and that would
I'm
be
not even sure if I
difficult to
glued
put a
mine. I
decal.
think I might have left it separate and just
Yeah.
popped it because it fits in there sort of in a pressure fit really well.
Yeah, it fits in fairly snugly. So, again, it's not a big deal. I've had one slight decal disaster of my own stupidity,
Yep.
but I was able to repair that actually fairly well with a decal I wasn't going to use.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's coming along nicely. I've got to still assemble the landing gear. I got to get that on my list.
Yep.
The Edouard Spitfire, I've put the Tamiya on the undercoat on the underside, and
Uh-huh.
I sprayed last night the gray that goes on the top side. And at
Okay.
this point, I will find some, I don't have masks. I'll use some paper masks. I've got some stuff I downloaded ages ago and you just print it out
Oh,
and
okay.
then you just cut it out of paper and it works well. I've done that before.
And what did you
Um,
glue it on the window or just
what I do is I use some Tamiya tape and I put the paper mask on top and you leave just a little bit of space and that gives that soft demarcation line. Or you
okay.
can put it right down and it's flat. So I'll see how I do. I've done this before for slightly larger aircraft. I've also
Yep.
freehanded or I've used silly putty or whatever, but I've got
I
some
like the
paper mats I
paper.
downloaded. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I might give those a whirl. We'll see what happens. I've done enough of these that it's fine.
Yeah.
The Bandai Star Destroyer, fully painted. I'm awaiting some decals. A colleague from the club, Dave Lappy Gurton, has some decals from an aftermarket of different Star Wars destroyers from different eras.
Oh,
So
right.
he says, and he's built a couple of these as well. So he's going to give me a set of decals for it.
Nice.
So that'll be interesting. So all I've done there is just a base coat of primer because the decals basically cover everything else. So
Excellent.
that's what's happening there. Other than that, the next kit was going to be the Italeri A4 Skyhawk. I did
Nice.
do I did a bench update. I briefly showed that on blackfire.ca, my personal
Uh-huh.
website.
Cool.
But of course, now I might be building a Moosearoo Cup, so we'll have to wait.
Yeah.
We'll wait and see what happens. How about you,
You're
sir?
gonna feel the pressure, Stu.
I know, I've seen some great shots from your workbench.
Yeah, I'm having a blast. I'm really getting close on the Quincy Row kit, which is the Quaidloon Rao from Macross.
Okay.
I finished all the wiring.
Hmm.
It lights up. It's good. And the mount. I finished up the mounting system. That it was a little bit of that took a long time, and it's simple now, but it kind of took me a long time to arrive at that because I needed to get the so I built a base like out of oak and some other wood, and inside the base is basically a box with a 9-volt battery power supply and a switch,
Okay.
and there was no way to put that stuff inside the model.
All right.
So I have the wiring is like inside the main fuselage or of this power armor, and that's where the LEDs are. So what I ended up doing was, and this kit is very large. It's a huge kit. I think everyone will be surprised to see it. Me too, how big it is all put together. But the kit has to come off the base for
Right.
shipping, storage, taking to shows, that kind of thing, right?
Hmm.
And so I needed to, okay, mount this thing on the base, be able to take it off, but the wires go through the kit and then into I have like a brass rod that's holding it up, but the wires run through that and into this box that I was describing in the base.
Okay.
And so it just took me a while to figure out how do you not put any pressure on the wires when you're pulling this thing off, and it has to accept a bit of weight without
Hmm.
bending. And so just yeah, I kind of worked it out. And I'm using an 1/8 inch stereo jack to connect the model kit wiring inside the model to the base wiring. So at the end of the mounting rod is a female jack end, and then on
Okay.
the inside of the model is the plug. So I can unplug it, pop this thing off, wrap it up, put it away or whatever, and then conversely stick it back on, open up the backpack, plug in the jack, and then turn on the wiring and the LED effects from inside the box. So
Okay.
sounds simple, but I don't know. I'm just a simple kind of guy. It took me a while to figure out. So I've got that all done, and then I've just been priming this thing. So I'm going all black, and I want to try. I was going to do black basing technique, kind of a la Dukes,
Right.
and that's just like a sort of adding tonal variation, and that's also something that Mike Rinaldi talks about too, and he talks about it. So there's different ways of getting that right, or a lot of people do pre-shading, right? It's the same idea, just like kind of different approach. So
Okay.
I wanted to do some black basing, and actually, I just ordered some Ushi. They're called the Trinity Splatter, and they're basically these photo etch masks of like
Oh yeah, I've been
random
wanting to get
patterns.
those.
I
Yeah,
just
they
ordered
look neat.
sets.
Oh, good for
So
you.
I instead of hand doing the sort of modeling, I
Right.
might use that if they come in. But anyway, I did some of it, and it turns out really good. And then even just the free-handed modeling
Right.
for the black basing worked out really well. I did have to do it twice though. I did
Mhm.
it. I did the first time. I just did the feet because I had them ready, and I just did the patterns were too big. They're too broad, so I just went back and I think I just repainted it quickly and then went back a much finer.
Right. Right.
And
Okay.
yeah, so I'm trying to get the rest of it primed now that I can connect it and the wiring is all done. It's all glued together. Um, yeah, it's a process, right? It's a different kind of model when you're doing like big resin, I'm finding. So yeah, I'm looking forward to painting it, getting color on there. I'm doing the like accurate to the TV show. So it's
Right.
the green and kind of a light blue color,
Okay.
and yeah, I've got to say I've had two kits on the go, but I've sort of put them down for a second just to make sure I could wrap this up. So the other one I'm working on is the M72 Gabriel Heavy Infantry unit from Moscato Hobby Models, and that one I am just about to get into the priming, and I'm going to this going to be this where we're going to pick up with the in-depth report about resin kits. So
Uh-huh.
I'm going to be doing a video. I thought I might have had it done last week, but I didn't quite get to it because I got busy with the other wiring stuff.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
yeah, I'm going to get to that shortly, and that one's a fun little build, and it's a really neat kit. And then
Cool.
I've got a Bondi kit that it's just kind of letting it sit on the shelf. I've built it up and I wanted to add some lights, so I have to stop until um, I've actually got the lights and LEDs installed before doing anything else, but I'm kind of waiting until I finish these first two, and then at the on I don't know, maybe we should give a name to this kind of thing, that the TV model, right? So
Yep.
we have like a family movie or something, or just TV time, and I have a little like a little tool case with my travel tools when I go to
Yep.
the club. So I
Yep.
brought it upstairs, and now I can sort of assemble, certain things you can
Cool.
assemble
Yep.
sitting on the couch. So I
Awesome.
took out my Type 89 IFE. So it's the Japanese self defense ground force
Mhm.
infantry fighting vehicle, and I'm just sort of putting together bits and pieces of it. So nothing
Cool.
too just the working on the hull and the suspension, that kind of thing.
Awesome.
So
There you
yeah,
go.
lots on the go. It's crazy
Good.
amount of
Good.
stuff.
Well, that's keeping you busy. That's good.
Sure is.
Okay, moving on. Sites and tips.
Mhm.
I found this one in my blog
Yeah,
feed from Hale Wallace over at Model Airplane Maker. He actually featured both myself and David from Scale Model Mojo
right on.
about this, and he considers the gentleman scale to be 1/72nd.
I always
If you look,
called. called it the scale of the gods, right?
Well, if you talk to David in Kentucky, he calls it God's true scale. Yeah, he mentions that a few times.
Yeah.
And I basically, he listened to, he says, is 70-second scale in decline? I've listened to some opinions about this in recent podcasts. One of the
Yeah.
hosts on the Scale Model podcast, me, explains that he does not build, I don't build it as much because I have trouble seeing the parts, and that's true. And yet
Yeah.
one of the hosts from Plastic Model Mojo boldly claims 70-second to be God's true scale.
It's
God
true.
scale, gentleman's scale, Braille scale, whatever it may be called.
Hmm.
So it's a nice little thing because he goes down the path of some of the history of
Yep.
172nd scale. He also
Yeah, I gotta
covers
read
off,
that.
yeah, he covers off some of his kits, and I recognize a few of these over the years.
Yeah.
So again, a nice little summary about, is 70 seconds still relevant and stuff like that. Now, I do believe, I do believe that, yeah, 70-second scale is still around. Don't get me wrong.
Hmm.
I just think some people are going to find them small and finicky. He says here, Model Buddy Ian believes the kits are too small and finicky for most of us older guys. He says, as a fan of models, he also believes it's small scale of the subject that makes them very attractive and model like. I can't argue with that, and it's true. And it's also you can
Yeah.
way more,
Yes.
So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. So anyway, it's worth a read. Hale's
Yeah.
blog is always worth a read. I do heavily suggest you subscribe and check that one out. It's always nice to be featured. One of my rants.
Yeah. There you go. He always
Oh,
does some interesting articles. So,
he does. He does. He
yeah.
always has. He always has good stuff. His website's very good. He goes through some of his model builds and some stuff.
Mhm.
He builds all sorts of neat things. A lot of
Yes.
Japanese stuff actually. He's really into that. So
Yeah.
definitely check that out. Okay, we've reached the end of the show again, my friend. Is there any other parting remarks, parting shots,
No, I
whatever you want to give out?
don't think so. I'm not really much of a giver in
Parting.
that regard.
Well, that's fine.
Everyone stay healthy, wash your hands, build lots of
That's right.
models.
That's right, exactly. Stay safe. We also want to say about our good friends. We have other podcast buddies, our
Hmm.
good friends at On the Bench, and they've gone to a weekly show out of Melbourne, Australia. So you can check them out at On the Bench.
Hmm.
And also Scale Model Mojo, our good friends in Kentucky, which also always features the modeling fluid of the day. So if you ever want to learn about good Kentucky bourbon, check
Yes.
that out as well. So,
Yeah, they're
and they're
really in depth too.
Yep, yep, they're really good, and we recommend them as well. They're good fun as
Yeah.
well. All three shows have kind of a different flavor, so we really enjoy it. And like I say, we're all good buddies. We all occasionally get together. We have a Google Hangout once in a while,
Yeah.
where a few of us we all get together and shoot the you know what,
Hmm.
and we'll go from there. So. Don't forget to subscribe. Let us know if you have any comments or suggestions at scalemodelpodcast@gmail.com. We currently record bi-weekly, and we're available where you get your favorite podcasts, including iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and Stitcher. As well, you can go to the website for show notes, and you can download the episode there at scalemodelpodcast.com. And it's not just notes, it's pictures. So, if you like pictures, check that
Yeah.
out too.
Yeah, we always
If
add lots of links, right?
Lots of
Relevant
links
links,
and
lots of
photos,
images.
and we try and do that. So if you enjoy the podcast, please consider leaving a review on one of those podcast sites I mentioned earlier. It does help get the show out to more modelers. We also publish extra video content to our YouTube channel, and we recently reached a milestone. We recently got over 100 likes, so I can personalize the channel now
Nice, excellent.
which I
Well
have, so
done.
that's fine. And of course, our Facebook page at facebook.com/scale model podcast. Also, don't forget there is a Patreon page at patreon.com/scale model podcast. Money's raised there, help us offset hosting costs and also get you into exclusive Patreon draw entries as we've had in the last couple of weeks. And I know after this one, there's some more good giveaways in a month or so. We'll be
Yeah,
uh, we'll be drawing exclusively for our Patreon supporters.
we
And
have a
not,
lot of sorry, we do have a lot of fun stuff coming up, giveaways
yeah,
and some neat interviews coming down
bench
the
to
pike. So
bench,
be on the lookout.
bench to bench video series will be
Yep.
Patreons will get a heads up on that. Okay, so that's it for this week. So for the Scale Model Podcast, my name is Stuart Clark.
And I'm Anthony Goodman.
Thank you and be well.